Namaste everyone. So today is the open discussion on Taittareeya, which we had 51 classes. So this is a kind of turning point in what we have been going through in the last several weeks. So here we are trying to kind of get to the essence of Taittareeya and clarify many questions that connect to your practice or Sravana Manana or the deeper meaning of interpretations of things that you've heard in the last 51 classes. And I think this will be the only room on Taittareeya because this is Friday. Sunday it will be again open discussion on any particular topic of Advaita. And the hand raising is open, so please come up and ask your questions. Binduji is going to spend about an hour and a half with us. So Srinivas, you have any questions? You can start.
Okay. Before Srini, just 1 minute, please. See, the very purpose of keeping this room is we had heard for last 51 classes Taittareeya, the Upanishad in detail, especially the second chapter, which is the most philosophical aspect of Taittareeya. What I look forward or was expecting is questions or clarifications on very specific points related in the Taittareeya which has not been clear to you because during my, this explanation, if I have omitted anything or if I have less explained any aspect of it, I want you to bring it up and ask me for further explanation. If there is nothing of that sort, you're all fine with that. I'm also okay with it. It's not that there should be questions, but I should not leave an opportunity for you because some of you may not have got opportunity to ask in the particular class itself because you would have listened it, the replays 1 or 2 times after that, and then something would have come up. So that is the reason why I thought that before we formally close the Taittareeya chapter, one specific day for Q&A can be kept so that any point of that type can be discussed. If it is not there, if anything which is coming up between the different Upanishads and the Taittareeya, if you have anything, something of that sort also can be asked, because it need not be Taittareeya alone, but other Upanishads also, which is dealing with the same tattva or the philosophy or the truth. So that is what I have in my mind. Not necessarily that you should stick to that and limit yourself. You can ask the questions from the Upanishad. Okay, Srinivas.
Yeah, Namaste Bindoji, Namaste all. Thanks for this session.
Namaste.
So, yeah, I think I was trying to revisit the key concepts of second chapter. I'm still in the process, but I think one of the key things which appeared is Tat Shrushtva Tadeva Anupravishat. So there was a lot of vicharana on that vakya, right? So I think at one point I also asked the question that, so this Anupravishat, so the Brahman has, one way of knowing is that as a Brahmakara vritti, the Pravesha is happened is one of the ways of understanding it. And also, of course, there are, enough, I think we can discuss a lot about that, but especially in the light of Parinamavada and Vivartavada kind of thing, and also how Pravesha cannot happen, so that Kartru Beda Karma, that same thing cannot be the enterer. So those kind of things we talked about. So one of the first questions I wanted to ask was this, Tat Srishtva Tadeva, if we take it as the Pravesha happened as a Brahmakara vritti, what about the other vrittis? Like in that case, if we are categorizing, like of course when we understand it as Brahmakara vritti, so what is the value or the status of the other vrittis compared to this Brahmakara vritti in this context of Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat? So I don't know if it makes sense, Bindoji. I'm just randomly
Yeah.
thinking of some stuff. Yeah, you can.
See, first and foremost, it is not a Brahmakara vritti or Akhandakara vritti what is being referred as Tat here. The Tat is Brahman itself. So there is no Akara vritti to that which is being referred in the Taittareeya. So what does it say? Tat Srishtva. Tat means that. In Sanskrit, that means here it stands for, because what was the subject of discussion? Brahman. So Brahman is the object or the reference which is being used in the word tat here, or that is being indicated. Then the second word is srishtva. Now the srishtva word is coming from srij utpadane, means to produce or create or anything, bringing out of itself. Because that's sa ekaha, that is only one early in the beginning. So you cannot bring out a akara vritti of yourself. What akara vritti comes is other than yourself. You are always known to yourself. There is never a moment when you are unknown to yourself. So you cannot convert that as an objectification. You never become an object for yourself. Therefore, the word akara vritti means thought. Akara means in the form of, or in the thought in the form of Brahman. It is Brahmakara vritti. Or Akhantakara vritti means, Akhantam means ekam. Akhantam means without any bifurcation, which means non-dual or eka. That is. So Akhantakara vritti or Brahmakara vritti is basically a thought of Brahman, is what the meaning comes from. So Brahmakara vritti. But that Brahman cannot have his own idea about himself as a thought. So Tat Srishtva means, Srishtva is having a word where it is Tva Pratyaya. Tva Pratyaya means it is a suffix added in Sanskrit for the first verb, having completed which there is an indication of the second verb. Here, having created, it entered. So, having created is the first verb. It entered is the second verb. Anupravishanam is the second one. So, Sat Srishtva means having created, produced, or, brought out. It entered itself. So, the entering is the second verb here. So, having brought out, entering itself. Tad eva, that is the second word which you have to make. Tad eva means that itself or that alone, because there is only one. So the second one, it cannot enter the second word to a second place because there is no second to it. Advitiyam, Advaitam, Ekaha, Akhantaha. All those things are indicating that there is Brahman alone. So having brought out, it itself entered it. Now, this particular statement from the Upanishadic point of view, is a mystical statement or an esoteric statement or a statement which cannot be understood if we use the transactional world, the language. Now, I having created a house, I entered itself. The house is different from me, and I am the one who is entering that. So there is like this, the spider created a web and entered into the web and remained in the center waiting for the prey. Now, all these places where it is being referred to, there is two which is in the picture. One who creates and the area or the one or another object into which it is entering. But here it is defying that. Tadeva anupravishat. It created, not only created it, since there was, that is why the word Tadeva has got an importance here. It created and entered itself. In this case, how can we imagine or even ideation or understand that I created something and entered itself when there was nothing other than me? This nothing other than me is available, is a permanent status, and it is always like that. It has never become two to become the entrance into the. So therefore, the kartrutvam or the subject and the object being the one, that is a word which is there, which I told in the Sanskrit, there is no kartru karma, that aspect of it. There is no subject and object separation. So when it is being understood, stated by the Upanishad that at all the time it is one and, non-dual, when it is said it created and entered itself, it cannot be producing a second one, because it has to remain as non-dual and one on, or even then. So what is the meaning the Upanishad wanting us to understand? That becomes more important. Because all through the second chapter, never it has accepted a second one to it. So what happens is that the example which Shankaracharya uses is that of the space. The space is one and non-dual all the time. But when the pot came up, we started calling it the space inside the pot as the pot space. Now what the pot space was never created. It was there even before. When the pot took shape from a lump of clay to a shape of a pot, the space inside the pot became available for transaction, like storage, etc. That making itself available for transaction without losing its unity or oneness or non-dual nature of the space, because the pot, when it came up inside the space, utilizing the space, and having utilized the space, left some space inside it, which we call it as for transactional purpose as the pot space. So the pot space is not a new creation, but an apparent creation due to the shape and the body of the pot, which even while remaining as the lump of mud and later when it became a pot, was inside space all the time. It did not create any new space. So when you know this type of an example, which Shankaracharya mentions it here, it's very clear that Brahman has never created the world outside itself. Every object in the world which we are experiencing, which we are considering as multiplicity and everything, has to be necessarily in Brahman. And while it is being created by us subsequently as progeny or house or any other object, all those things are happening inside Brahman only. Therefore, what happens is that while we do a transaction in the realm of our transactional level, we are never away from Brahman. What we are is also Brahman. What we are dealing with is also Brahman, while the whole thing is happening in Brahman, and outside Brahman there is nothing outside available. So the Brahmakara Vritti or Akhandara Vritti, it cannot be possible in Brahman. From the point of view of us who are not aware of this Brahman and its nature, when we realize that the whole experience of the world and the nature of individuals, etc., all of them are in Brahman. So when we come to know about it, we have this Sarvatma Bhava or Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma knowledge in us, but experientially the differentiation is being seen by the sense organs, but knowledge-wise we know the unity or the oneness of everything. This knowledge of oneness by us, not by Brahman, please understand, us while transacting with that Sarvam Khalu Idam knowledge is called the Brahmakara Vritti from our point of view. Now the other vrittis which you asked me the question is based and dependent upon our part which we play as subject and everything in the world as object. So this subject-object dichotomy and the reaction and the actions and the transactions, all the three are called vritti in the ordinary sense. So Akhandakara vritti is Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. The normal vritti is our transactional vrittis or transactional thoughts or imaginations, feelings, etc. And the same Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma is a Akhandakara vritti or Brahmakara vritti from our point of view, who has understood that everything is Brahman. From Brahman's point of view, there is no Brahmakara vritti or Akhandara vritti, or even the other vrittis are not there, because he doesn't see himself as a subject and object. He doesn't see that from Brahman's point of view, there are no objects for him separate. He even while having created it, he has not created it, in the sense that he has not created it outside himself. Yeah. Now the other example which not told by Shankaracharya and I would like to use is the dream experience. Having created the dream world and the dreamer and the objects of the dream, we become the dreamer, experience the entire world of dream as a dreamer in the world, while all the while it is happening in our mind. The dream is in our mind, the dreamer is our mind, the objects in the world of dream is ourselves. There is nothing outside us which is being experienced. So where did that thing happen? It all happened in our mind only. So that is one way of understanding it from a personal experience point of view. When you use the space and the jar and everything, still there is a problem of Swamshikaranam or internalizing and thinking it. We cannot internalize. We still see our space as an object outside. So what the space experiences cannot be thought by us as a pot and a pot space and the space outside. But when we say about the dream, the dreamer and the dream world, we can imagine ourselves as Brahman creating the whole world. That is where the shift which I always refer to becomes easier for us to do that.
Thank you, Binduji. Yeah, thank you for the beautiful explanation. Thanks.
Thank you, Srini.
I'd like to, thank you, Srini. I'd just like to take a moment, if you don't mind, Prakash, to reset the room, because a number of people have come in since Binduji spoke at the beginning. And this is a slightly unusual room in that most of us have spent a number of months, twice a week. We meet on Wednesday and Friday, 8:30 p.m. IST for these Upanishad classes. And we just completed the Taittareeya Upanishad 2 days ago. And this was to be an additional opportunity, as Srini just used, to go deeper into that. Any remaining questions at all? We do have a Sunday Q&A or discussion every week at the same time for general Advaita questions. But the people who have, any of us who have missed rooms or not been present, we actually have spent, 51 classes. And they're available here to listen to and also on a YouTube channel called Advaita Retold. And so just realize that that's the place we're coming from to take opportunity today to go deeper into the questions that still remain for us from that Upanishad. So not to limit people if we end up without more on that, and we do have the Sunday Q&A, but as much as we can to resolve any doubts we still have on this really important Upanishad, especially the second chapter that Binduji spent several months on, so that we could really understand Advaita. And with that, anyone is welcome to raise their hand and come up for the purposes today. And I apologize if I say your name wrong. Are you going on Clubhouse by Milan? Welcome.
Milan, do you have any questions?
Hi. Yes, Binduji. I have a question on Chandogya Upanishad.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it has given an insight for me in terms of the stages or the branches of Dharma. It says Yajna, Dana, Swadhyaya are the first branches of Dharma. So is Yajna a mandatory tool to survive in the earth?
What do you know by what do you understand by the term yajna?
It's called a sacrifice. We do all sorts of omam, right? Sacrifice of all the Ayurvedic items that we put in omam, and then we praise the Agni god.
Okay. Milan, that is one of the meanings. You are not wrong. That is used as a general term for Homa, etc. Yajna, the term is come from the word yajati. Yajati means to take effort, or that effort can be in many forms. The entire Bhagavad Gita is talking about different yajnas. So there is no homa or ahuti which is referred in the Bhagavad Gita. Each one, Karma Yoga, the Yoga or Yajna, both are coming from the same verbal root, Yaj. So, the Yoga, what we see is the, physical exercise, is mostly understood as the term Yoga by everyone in the world. But Yoga is not restricted to that. It is everything is coming from the word effort. Effort means it has to be an activity where we are setting aside our time, which is meant for something else, for carrying out something specific. So when we take up something specific, we may be sacrificing some of our other activity, which otherwise we will be more interested to do it. Now, the people who are doing the physical exercise of yoga are those people who are setting aside their time for specifically for that physical exercise, where they are having the opportunity to use that same time for something else at home or at in the park or in the walking or something like that, but they are utilizing them. So that is why the yoga also has got the name yoga. Now the yoga name, yajna name, came to the Vedic period because what is supposed to be used for our consumption is what is being offered in the fire in the form of oblations. We think that we are pleasing the divine or the deity on whose name the yajna is being done by offering what is pleasing or pleasant to me, by sacrificing that instead of consuming it, when I am offering it to the deity is being fed by what is pleasing to me or what is loving to me or enjoyable to me. So that sort of a sacrifice which I am doing by not eating myself to a fire, through the fire to the deity, the devata, what we call it as devata, is an offering of yajna. But what we talk about the yajna or the yaga or the yoga, all the three terms mean the same thing when our effort is to achieve something different or higher compared to what we would have otherwise used. So karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, all of them are yogas in the Bhagavad Gita language. There also the same word is used. So yajna dana tapa karma. These are the dharmani, pavanani, manishina. That is why it is mentioned that all these things are purifiers, pavanani, which are all purifying means when I am surrendering, which is my desired item for oblation into the fire and giving to the deity whom I love to give it, there is a sacrifice in my side. In that sacrifice, I am not only sacrificing the article or the material which I am surrendering to the fire, I am also surrendering my desire to have it at the same time. It is including the desire which it goes into the offering. Thereby, this offering, when I keep doing it, my desires keep coming down because whenever I see the object, I will be immediately remembering that I need to offer this to my God or to my deity. Thereby, my desire for my selfishness comes down and thereby my ego will come down. So the dharma, for the purpose of dharma, this is considered as one of the methods by the ancient rishis in India. Is it clear?
Yeah, very clear, Binduji. I totally agree with what you said. But I was just trying to go through another Upanishad called Prana Agni Otra Upanishad. where you treat your body as a altar or the yajna body and offer yourself to the deity, the Brahman we say. So ultimate result of that Upanishad, what I could infer is death. So whereas if you go through the proper altar method of yagams, you see longevity in your survival in earth. Do you agree, Binduji?
See, the end purpose or the end goal of these activities can vary depending upon the activity which you are doing. If you know that there is no death or birth, na jayate mriyate va kadachit, Bhagavad Gita says about it. If you consider and you know as you are Brahman, Atman, there is no birth, no death for you. But if you think that you are the body, then you will be thinking that the body is me and my body is born and therefore my body has a death, and those feelings will come. Such people will have two options for it. One is either to extend the lifespan by offering yajnas. That is what one set of people will do. The other set of people, having known that the body is not me, do not want to keep the body anymore for any personal gratification. Such people will do the pranahuti or the prana yajna, or whereby they surrender their prana. Instead of prolonging their life, they would like to shorten the life and leave the body early. It is not a suicide, but it is a shortening of your lifespan. That is also one of the ways in which one of the Upanishads which you mentioned, the Prana Upanishad also talks about it. That is being mentioned in some other Puranas and some of the Smriti Granthas also. So these are all based on the belief that you want to be considered yourself as a body or not. But once you know that you are neither born nor dead, this experience of waking itself is like dreamlike. Then whether death or no death doesn't make a difference for the one who knows it. And such a person is known as Brahmajnani.
I totally agreed, Binduji. Thanks a lot for this insight.
Thank you, Malin.
So that I've quoted Binduji, just even in terms of Gita's perspective of yajna, they go transcendental from Dravya Yajna. I've quoted that shloka, Dravya Yajna, Tapo Yajna, Yoga Yajna, Tatha Pare, Swadhyaya, Jnana Yajna, Yatayaha Samshita Vrata. So there are stages also, which the highest is what is seen as cultivation of this transcendental knowledge as a means of sacrifice, just as you described.
Thank you, Prasad. Namaste, Bangat.
Namaste, Hari Om Binduji.
Hari Om.
If time permit, I want to chant Brahma Gnana Vadimala.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, it takes 5-6 minutes. Hope it's okay. Thought is more appropriate for the day as we're closing the Taittareeya Upanishad. This can be affirmation. This could be recognition. Whichever the way you take it. Hari Om. Asangoham, asangoham, asangoham punah punaha Satchidananda rupoham ahamevahamavyayah Nitya shuddha vimukto शान्तोऽहम् निराकारोऽहमव्ययः भूमानन्दस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्योऽहम् निरवध्योऽहम् निराकारोऽहमच्युतः परमानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः शुद्धचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् आत्मा रामोऽहमेव च अखण्डानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रत्यक्चैतन्यरूपोऽहम् शान्तोऽहम् प्रकृतेः परः शाश्वतानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तत्त्वातीतः परात्महम् मध्यातीतः परशिवः मायातीतपरम् ज्योति अहमेवाहमव्ययः नानारूपवतीतोऽहम् चिदाकारोऽहमच्युतः सुखरूपस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः माया तत्कार्यदेहादि मम नास्यैव सर्वदा सर्वप्रकाशैकरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः गुणत्रयवतीतोऽहम् ब्रह्मादीनाम् च साक्ष्म्यहम् अनन्तानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः अन्तर्ज्योतिस्वरूपोऽहम् कूटस्थः सर्वगोऽस्म्यहम् सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः द्वन्द्वादिसाक्षिरूपोऽहम् अचलोऽहम् सनातनः सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रज्ञानगण एवाहम् विज्ञानघन एव च अकर्ताहम् अभोक्ताहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः निराधारस्वरूपोऽहम् सर्वाधारोऽहमेव च आप्तकामस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तापत्रयविनिर्मुक्तः देहत्रयविलक्षणः अवस्थात्रयसाक्ष्यस्मि अहमेवाहमव्ययः दग्दृश्यौ द्वौ पदार्थस्थः परस्परविलक्षणौ दृग्ब्रह्मदृश्यम् मायेति सर्ववेदान्तडिण्डिमः अहम् साक्षीति यो विद्यात् विविच्छैवम् पुनः पुनः स एव मुक्तः स विद्वान् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः घटकुद्यादिकम् सर्वम् मृत्तिकामात्रम् एव च तद्वद् ब्रह्म जगत् सर्वम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः ब्रह्म सत्यम् जगन्मिथ्या जीवो ब्रह्मैव नापरः अनेन वेद्यम् सच्चास्त्रम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः अन्तर्ज्योति बहिर्ज्योति प्रत्यग्ज्योति परात्परः ज्योतिर्ज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योति शिवोऽस्म्यहम् ज्योति ज्योति स्वयं ज्योति आत्मज्योति शिवोऽस्म्यहम् हरि ओम् नमस्ते
Nice.
Thank you, Venkat. Very nice. Okay, for those who are not familiar with Sanskrit, I will read each of the verses and translate it. Sahrit Sravana Matrena Brahmajnanam Yato Bhavet Brahmajnana Valimala Sarvesha Moksha Siddhaye. The work Brahmajnana Valimala, which Venkat chanted just now. Sakrit Sravana Matrena, listening it once, just once. Brahmajnanam Yato Bhavet. the knowledge of Brahman will happen instantaneously. Therefore, Brahmajnana Valimala, this chant which will get chanted now, Sarvesham Moksha Siddhaye. I am writing this, Shankaracharya is saying this. I am writing this for the benefit of everyone's emancipation. Asangoham, 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 punah punaha, Satchidananda Rupoham, aham eva, aham avyayaha. I am asangaha, asangaha, asangaha. 3 times he is saying that. That is Adi Bhaudika, Adi Daivika, Adhyatma. All the 3 forms. That is Adi Daivika from the celestial point of view, Adi Bhaudika from the creation's point of view, and Adhyatma from my own internal nature. This is the entire experience of ours. Asangoham, asangoham, asangoham. From that means I am unattached with the celestial things. I am unattached with the creations of the world. I am unattached with even my internal things, which is happening in me, like, Kama, Krodha, Mada, Moha, Mahasya, that love, luster, etc. And Punah Punaha, I am saying that this I am saying again and again to make myself free from my attachment to any one of them. And while I am repeating that I am not any one of them, I also have to affirm what I am. By just saying I am not will not take me where I want to be. Therefore, Satchidananda Rupoham, I am of the nature of Satchit Ananda, that is existence, knowledge and bliss is my form. Aham evaham avyayaha. I am the very self which is indestructible and ever unchanging. Avyayaha means and ever unchanging. Nitya Shuddha Vimuktoham Nirakaroham Avyayaha Bhumananda Swarupoham Ahamevaham Avyayaha. This Ahamevaham Avyayaha is coming at the end of every verse, so I am not going to repeat that. Nitya Shuddha Vimuktoham. Nitya, eternal. Shuddha, pure. Vimuktaha, liberated, is my nature, aham. Nirakaro maham avyayaha. Nirakara means I am the formless, avyayaha, indestructible and changeless, avyayaha. Bhumananda swarupoham. When I am not these things, what am I? I am of the nature of infinite bliss. This bhuma is the infinite bliss. Ahamevaham avya. I am that very self which is indestructible and changeless. Nityoham niravadyoham nirakaroham achyutaha. Paramananda rupoham ahamevaham avyayaha. Nityoham. I am eternal. Niravadyoham. I am free from blemish. Niravedyoham. And niravadyoham. Nirakaro. I am without any form. Aham achyutaha. I am indestructible and changeless. Paramananda Rupoham. I am of the nature of supreme bliss. Param Ananda means extreme bliss or supreme bliss. Then Ahamevaham Avyayaha. Shuddha Chaitanya Rupoham Atma Ramoham Evacha. Akhantananda Rupoham Ahamevaham Avyayaha. Shuddha Chaitanya Rupa. That means the pure consciousness and I revel in my own self. And Atma Rama means I revel in myself. Ahamevaham avyayaha. I am that nature of indivisible or concentrated or ghanam, or which is the purity in nature. There is nothing other than myself in it. Therefore, that is the nature of if is mine. Akhandananda Rupam. That without any second one. Khandan means bifurcate. Where I do not bifurcate, I am not in any way dividable. Therefore, I am Akhandananda Rupoha. Ahameva aham abheya. I am the very self, indestructible and changeless. Pratyak Chaitanya Rupoham Shandoham Prakrite Paraha Shashwatananda Rupoham Ahameva aham abheya. Pratyak, that means I am the indwelling consciousness. Pratyak Chaitanya Rupoham. Chaitanya means here the consciousness. Pratyak means indwelling. Pratyak Chaitanya Rupoham. Shandoham Prakrite Paraha. I am calmness, free from all agitation all the time. And I am beyond the Prakriti or beyond the Maya, Avidya, ignorance. Prakrite Paraha. Shashwatananda Rupoham. I am the eternal bliss. Shashwatam means eternal. So, it is said that it is what is in the form of Paramananda Rupam, Bhumananda Rupam, Paramananda Rupam, Akhandananda Rupam. Here it is saying Shashwatananda Rupoham. That nature of myself is Shashwatam, eternal nature, bliss. Then comes the next verse, 7th one. Tattvadita Paramatmoham Madhyadita Parashivaha Mayadita Param Jyotir Ahamevaham Abhyaha. Tattvadita. I am even beyond the categories of Prakriti, Tattva. Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankara, all of them are Tattva. So I am beyond all those things. I am that Supreme Self. Paramatma. I am the Supreme Auspicious One, which is beyond all those. Madhyama means the lower one is the gross, the Madhyama is the middle one. And Parashivaha, I am the Supreme Light or Supreme Peace, Supreme Auspiciousness. Mayatita, beyond them, I am beyond the Maya, which is beyond the ignorance and everything. Param Jyoti means Supreme Light or Supreme Knowledge here. In the Jyoti here is not standing for light, but it is for the knowledge. Param Jyoti Raham Eva Aham Avyaha. Then the 8th one is Nana Rupa Vyatitoham Chitakaraham Achyutaha Sukaswarupoham Ahamevaham Avyaha. So Nana Rupa Vyatitoham. I am beyond the different forms. Means these different forms are not there in me. I am beyond all this multiplicity which I am seen in this world. Chitakaram Achyutaha. And that Chit Akara means consciousness, nature. Achyutaha, blemishless or without any decline. Sukha Swarupoham. I am the nature of bliss. Ahameva aham avyaha. I am of the nature of that. Maya tatkarya dehadi mama nasti eva sarvata suprakashaika rupoham ahameva aham avyaha. Maya tatkarya dehadi. That is dehadi, the bodies which is there is a creation of Maya karyam due to the ignorance or the ajnana or the avidya. That is the Mayadi Dehadi. Mama nasti eva sarvada. In me or for me, these deha or these bodies, either mine or the bodies of the world, is never present. There's nasti eva sarvadaha. Swaprakasha eka rupoham. Swaprakasha eka rupa aham. Swaprakasha means self-illumining nature or self-luminous. Ekaha, of the nature of oneness. Rupoham is my form. Ahameva aham avyayaha. Gunatrayatitoham brahmadhinam cha sakshyaham. Anandananda rupoham ahameva aham avyaya. Gunatrayatitoham. The gunatraya means sattva rajas tamas. I am beyond the sattva rajas tamas. Brahmadinam cha sakshyaham. I am the witness even for the Lord Brahma, the four-faced Lord Brahma and others. Means from the creator Brahma to everything with it. Brahmanda, Pipilikanda, Tanushu. All of them. I am the witness in which these things are appearing. Ananda, Ananda, Rupoham. Ananda, Ananda. Both are coming here. Ananda means endless or infinite. Ananda means bliss. So Ananda, Ananda means infinite bliss. Is my form. Ahameva aham avyayaha. I am the very self, indestructible and changeless. Andaryami swarupoham kudastaha sarvagosmyaham paramatma swarupoham ahameva aham avyayaha. Andaryami. Andaryami means indweller or the inner controller. From within as Atma or the life in me, the controller is Surupoham. I am the form of the life in this body. Kutastaha. Even though Kutastaha in this body. Sarvagatosmyaham. Even though I am residing in this body, I am Sarvagataha. I am all pervading. So it is not that I am also in this body, I am also outside. That is why Anoraniyan, Mahodo Mahiyan, Antarjyoti, Bahirjyoti, Atmajyoti, all those things are being referred here by that same thing. Paramatma Swarupoham Mahamavayaham Amavya. Paramatma Swarupam means a supreme self here. Nishkamoham, Nishkriyoham, Nishkamoham, Nishkriyoham, Sarvatmadhya Anatanaha. Aparoksha Swarupoham Ahamevaham Avyayaha. Okay. So these, from here onwards, it is not the standard one. These were added on, which he has not chanted. So I am not going into that. Okay. So these are the verses which Venkat has chanted for you. Because another 8 more verses are there, which is not by Shankaracharya, but added on by somebody later. That is why the meter is totally out. So I don't want to read and confuse those things.
Thank you, Vendaji. I was able to ask you for translation. You did it without asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat.
I just wanted to thank you for that, and the way that you read it, and the way that the sound has meaning, but the translation. I just wanted to really thank you.
Please come up. Jai, Ganesh Prasad, Yash. Please. Namaste, Ganesh. Namaste, Ganesh. Ganesh, you are
Ganesh,
muted.
you are, yes.
You may have to go and come back again. Namaste, Yash.
Namaste, Vidnoji. Just happy to be here
Thank you.
and hear your voice, Artemisha's voice, seeing this room live, seeing Venkatji singing, chanting. So thank you for this. Thank you so much.
Namaste Bindoji.
Namaste, Ganesh. Namaste, Ganesh.
Namaste, it was fantastic. I'm just getting tempted to chant the Nirvana Shatkam with your permission.
Let me check with Jay what he has doubt, then
Yeah.
do that and then come back.
At the end, it would be okay. No problem.
Yeah, okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Jay?
Hi, Binduji. Thank you.
Hi, Jay.
And only from the past few weeks, my questions has decreased. But if I have an opportunity, maybe I will ask one question.
Please go ahead.
So now, when the ego or the thinker which is inside the thought, when it is there, then the whole world appears real. But then that is dreamlike. But then the real self is there. Then it is not ego. Then maybe it is peace and Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Right? I mean, any of those labels we can give, even though it is unlabelable. So the difference between this representative, imaginary, thought-made personality. So the effort is started by making this personality, but the end is like no personality, just the space. So even like I heard an example where there can be, at any given time, there can be only one of these two. So this personality, when the thing is, when the personality is there, the wholeness is not there. When the wholeness is there, this personality is not there. But then how can this personality infer that I'm just an illusion? Actually, this wholeness is only running the show. Can you give some more hints in this direction?
Okay. I'll do one thing. I'll read a message which came to me after a discussion with one of the, person who attends my lectures very regularly. I'll read his message and then come to explain yours. The message came to me like this. Respected Bindoji, I hope you are well. I am so thankful again for meeting me and spending time with me last week. I have been reflecting on your view about free will. I am blown away by the conclusion I have reached. Basically, my fundamental belief is that nothing in this world is random or by chance. Also, it is repetitive and cyclic. Example, seasons, day and night, rotation of planets, of the suns, etc. So, if that is the case, then how can it be that what we call as our lives are not cyclic, under our control, and hence under our free will? They cannot be. This means that this cycle of millions of years repeats itself. Within that, our lives also repeats itself. So, there has been his name he has mentioned there has been a so-and-so in the past, there has been a Binduji in the past, and there has met in the past, maybe a million years ago. That would mean that what is happening now and what is going to happen in the next moment has happened earlier too, many, many times, and it will happen in the future too. Maybe that is the full picture that Bhagavan Sri Krishna meant in the Bhagavad Gita. So, where do I come into this infinite repetitive cycle? As an individual has no role, I as Brahman has the role of being the substratum that supports this cycle. This was the message to me. Did you understand the message? Okay.
I heard it, but then this repeatability, we cannot know. I mean, is it something like deja vu or anything?
It is not like a deja vu. Krishna says this in this Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna, you are not seeing what I am seeing. I am able to see what is that has happened, what will be happening. All of them are instantaneously visible to me. You are only seeing what is happening this very moment. Therefore, you are confused. You are thinking that you are going to kill your uncle, brothers, etc., and other, people who are against you in the war. But when I am seeing the future where these people have already died and have become, no more available in this world. That is what Krishna is saying. And he is also saying that this Gita I am repeating for so many times, and I have told this same thing to Manu onwards many times. That many times he has repeated the messages. He has taught these things to other people also. So what does it mean? It shows that is that our repetitiveness of day, every day, we think it's a new day. But think for a moment, we are calling it as a day because we are counting time and we are under the ignorance of the continuity of time. Therefore, we think that each day is a new day and then our aging is happening, our body is becoming old, we are dying because we are seeing the body becoming from the child to the old and everything dying. So we think that these things are the only happening to me. But if you look that me in you, who is observing these things, stand out from that as the one who is where this body or this waking experience or the dream experience is not there. From that point of view of you, where the experiences were not there, can you see where there is any repeatability or is there any time, any aging or anything happening to you? No. What is there is always there. The deep sleep which you enjoyed as a child and the deep sleep what you are enjoying now, that deep sleep has not become different. That is what you are in reality. But when the ego comes up and thinks that the waking is happening, then we are associating with the time, the space, the body, the things in the world as objects and everything. This is why we are feeling that time is guiding us and taking us again and again forward and old and everything. But we are not that. It is an experience as a waker. As a dreamer, we had millions of dreams. Even in one night itself, we have met out to seen 2-3 dreams. So many things are happening to the individual when it is associating with the mind. And when the mind is not being functional, we are in our pure nature, our pure self. So when you ask me this question of the repeatability, or the nature of how this is happening. It is not, it is happening because you think it is happening. In reality, nothing is happening. Now, if you think that it is happening, you want to know the reality, then you have to be outside the happening to know the reality. Inside, remaining inside an activity, you cannot know the activity in full. That is what Krishna says, Arjuna. You are inside that activity of Arjuna as an Arjuna, therefore you are not seeing the whole thing. I am the one who is now as Brahman or Atman. I am able to see the whole picture of what is happening in the future, what is going to happen, what happened earlier also. How many times I have repeated the same thing again and again. That is the statement from the point of view of the Brahman or Atman. Therefore, when we associate with the body, we are within the body, and within the body we can never find out the reasons or the cause and effect of it. The pot can never know the mud, even though it is made of mud. The lump of mud can be known only if it is neither the pot nor the lump of the mud. Only outside the lump or outside the pot only we can know it as mud. Same way, we as individuals and experiences of the waker and the world can never be found fully by us unless we switch ourselves from that to our true knowledge of what we are. It is just like in a moving train, you can feel you are not moving, but when you look outside and take a reference from outside, then only you will feel that train is moving. Same way, when you are flying at 33,000 feet high, the plane will look stationary in the sky with making noise, not moving. You can't see the ground below because it's all cloud. So you feel that the plane is standing still in the sky. Only when it is about to land, you will see the plane is moving at such a fast speed. This exactly is the problem what we have. Remaining as a waker, we will never know the reality of what we are. We will have to abandon the waker and the dreamer to know who we are, which we are doing every time. Every time we are doing it. But there is no me or you or the individuality of the waker or the dreamer in that state. Therefore, the waker or the dreamer can never know that. But we are that. Only when you know that how to switch yourself from this waker or the dreamer, objectify the waking and the dream of your own experience in the knowledge, you will be able to know that the waker and the dreamer experiences are not me, but I am experiencing them when I am associating with them. It is not happening in me, but I am watching them happening. But when I associate myself and become the waker, then I am not the watcher. I become the waker and experience the waking. That is how the whole process is happening. And why is it happening? Because that is the nature of Brahman. You cannot ask why it is happening, because why the question is only in the waking. We can ask this question, cause and effect thing. But the only answer which we can give is that is the nature of Brahman. And actually speaking, in Brahman, that is not happening. But from the waker's point of view, when you ask me why, I have to give you some answer. Therefore, I say it is the nature of Brahman. Actually speaking, in Brahman, that is also not happening. You are neither the waker, nor the dreamer, nor the deep sleeper. You are always that non-dual Satchidananda Brahma. That's all.
Thanks, Binduji. Actually, you answered 2-3 of my other questions also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. I'm happy to note that
Binduji,
your questions have come down a lot now, which itself is a sign that you are thinking about these things very much and you are doing Shravana Manana and Nidhyasana very well. Yes, yes.
yeah, I was just going to interrupt you before Ganesh could speak. I mean, I have also had a question, and it is unrelated to Avasthatraya, but maybe you will give an understanding from Avasthatraya. But I am trying to find a separate understanding other than Avasthatraya. So, how to experientially know that this reality is unchanging? The scriptures do say it is unchanging. There is this one own reality, and we are that. But how to experientially know that it is unchanging?
It's very simple, yes. Where you see the changing has to be seen from a reference point of view. Then only you can know that something is changing. That is the example which I was telling to Jai, the train and the plane thing. Examples. I'm not using Avasthatraya. Okay. So, you need a changeless reference from where the changes are being seen. The very reason you are seeing the changes is because you are changeless. You are the changeless one which is seeing the changes. You have seen the change of yourself from the childhood to now. Who is the one which has seen the changes? A changeless you is there present in the child to now, who has seen the changes. Therefore, the changes what you are saying now is not to you, but they are objectives for you or objects for you. The changes and the contents of the change are objects for you. You are the subject which is changeless.
So, Binduji, this I understand, but it's a very simple deduction. If we go a little further, because we have to include several of the Upanishad statements. So we also have to say at the same time, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, where there is no object. So I'm trying to understand, let's just say from a space point of view, which is nearest to Brahman, even though it is not Brahman. But if you could give an example, because Brahman is also said to be Brihatvat and ever expanding. So when we say it is ever expanding, how are we also saying at the same time it is not changing?
First of all, Brahman is not ever expanding. It is everywhere. That is the word used. Ever expanding is the scientific phenomena of the world being, universe being ever expanding. That is not Brahman. Brahman is, that is why, where it is said, even before the mind goes, it is already there. If you remember the Upanishad word, the mind reaches there, before that the Brahman is reached there. That was a poetic way of explaining that, which shows that there is nothing outside Brahman. It is not, even if you take it expanding, it has to expand in some media in which it has to expand. When that media is inside something which is already expanded and already in the full, that is why the word Purnam is being used. Purnamada Purnamidam. That word itself shows that there is not a spot which is outside Brahman. So, that is what is the changeless one. So all the changes which you assume and everything is apparent and happening inside that. So the space what you said is also is an object inside Brahman. And inside that space, the objects which are appearing cannot be different from Brahman, because the space itself is embedded in Brahman or part of Brahman, or it cannot be say part also. It is an appearance in Brahman. Therefore, there is no way you can bring in any example from our day-to-day experiences to say this is Brahman. The only thing which you can say is that I am Brahman. That knowledge in you with which you are knowing everything as names and forms and the experiences, everything is happening in a awareness. That awareness has no I or you in it. We are all in that awareness. Because we are all awareness and having names and forms, we make the error in calling Yash and Bindu as two individuals. But from the point of view of awareness, which knows everything, in everything is in that awareness, there is no you, me separate from that awareness. But for that, you have to drop the feeling that I, as a limited individual, to know that the you and I is no separate existence. That is the time when Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma becomes a reality. Only then we can say that Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma is my experience and Aham Brahmasmi will be your personal experience. That aparoksha anubhuti of yours will be self-effulgent and self-revealing. Nobody else can know that, and you cannot explain that to anyone, and you need not want somebody else to vouch that yes, you are having that experience, because you will know it yourself, because that's a knowledge nature. The knowing the knowledge, that is the only way I can explain that within using the words. Knowing the knowledge not as with any content in it, a contentless knowledge, knowing that knowledge is what will happen to you.
Thank you, Binduji. Binduji, could we also extrapolate? So although we heard it, we know it that we cannot objectify Brahman. But because of this understanding that it is a changeless one in which we all are, could we extrapolate? Because when you were giving the reference to what Venkatji was chanting, you also said Gunatita, or like, so can we extrapolate those things as properties? Like, if there is something bad, then there is also good, and so both of them get balanced. So that's why it is unchanging, or all the three gunas in that get balanced, or like, or would you say this is just hasty generalization, or we could not objectify Brahman, so we should not even think about these aspects?
That will be better way of saying. We cannot even think of these things in Brahman. Because there is where the yato vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha, that's when I explained it. It was explained in such a way that any definition, any labeling, any name and nomenclature, any name and form is at the mental level. But the same mind, when do not use the words for expression, nor ideation, imagination, or projections of the mind, then that mind is the mind which is knowing the Brahman. But that time the mind cannot say, I am knowing it, because there is no objectification or any way or you cannot separate it from itself. Therefore, the mind becomes the Brahman, one and the same, and therefore, it is a immediate experience in the mind, but at the same time, it is beyond words. It is beyond imagination. It is beyond names and forms. But it is an experience of the mind experiencing what otherwise it was all the time doing as knowing, feeling, thinking, imagining everything as through the use of words and nomenclatures and labeling and forms, etc. That the moment you can drop that, when the mind becomes no mind, when the mind becomes no mind means the same mind becomes a mind without names and forms. Then that mind is not separate from Brahman. It becomes one with the Brahman. And that time, when becoming a Brahman, it is knowing I am myself as Brahman, but not as I know now Brahman. No. There is no I that time. The I also is not there. There it is a pure bliss, experience, existence, knowledge. You cannot use these terms also, because the moment we use these terms, we have standard information about what is bliss, what is knowledge, what is existence in the relative world with objectification. But here is the non-objectification or a state of non-availability of a second one. In that absence of the duality, that state of non-dual existence, non-dual knowledge, non-dual bliss is what our nature is.
Yeah, you peanut butter. But use this peanut butter.
Prakash, you want to say anything?
We can't hear you, Prakash.
Sorry, Bindoji, it was an accident. Sorry. But I have a question after this.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, please go on, Prakash. Thank you.
Bindoji, I want to touch upon what you started with in the first class in Taittareeya about the pramanas. So, in the context of what we have been discussing in the last 15-20 minutes, can you recall or make us remind us about the Shabda Praman and Anupalabdhi and how that is part of this whole exercise? Do you think that is relevant at this point, and clarifying that, just to give a deeper impact on this clarity of this? Binduji.
Yeah. Okay. See, basically, what is pramana is the word used in Sanskrit means of knowledge. Prama karanam pramanam. Prama means knowledge. Karanam means instrument or the means through which we have knowledge. The 6 pramanas which Advaitins accept is Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi and Shabda. Okay. Now these are all the Sanskrit terms. I'll explain each one of them. Pratyaksha means immediate knowledge through sense organs. What we call it as perception. Anumana means inference. But inference can work only when there is something Pratyaksha has already created a basis for it. Like you can see a smoke coming from a distance and say that there is fire there. Why? Because you already know that wherever smoke is there, fire has to be there. But the reverse is not true. Wherever fire is there, smoke will be there, cannot be true, because there can be a fire which doesn't produce smoke. But everywhere where smoke is there, the fire has to be there. Therefore, the anumana or the inference becomes valid for such cases. Only where it is, there are conditions for Hetu, Vyapti, and all those, there are technical terms for it, which Jadaveda is likely to do in the Saturday class. If you are those who are listening to the, Tarka Sangraha, you will come to know about these things. Then the third one is Upamana, means example, by giving example, Upama. You can use an example saying that, this person looks like my uncle. So you are using this person as an example to tell that he looks like my uncle. Then Arthapati. Arthapati is postulation, no? I think so. And I don't know the English word for it. Arthapati is that where you are seeing a boy, fat, he is putting on weight, but his parents and everybody say that he doesn't eat during daytime, but he is gaining weight. So he doesn't eat during daytime, but he is gaining weight. That means he is eating in the night. He must be eating in the night. This is the way in which Artha Apati means deriving information using a meaningful way into which we think. Anupalabdhi is where the opposite of that. You use that examples and everything, but the answer is wrong. That is the Anupalabdhi. And then last one is Shabdam. Shabdam and Shabdam, these are two different things. Shabdam means sound. Shabdam means that which results after listening or hearing a sound. It is the product of sound, is called Shabdam. So, Shastram is supposed to be Shastra, Guru Vakya, or the teacher's teaching. All these are coming under the word Shabdam. Means they are using words or using sound to impart the knowledge. The usage of sound to impart knowledge, even though it is part of the pratyaksha or the sensory input, like what is that eyes, ears, nose, throat, touch, skin, touch, etc. Here, the sound which is causing knowledge is called Shabda. Whereas the sound which is you are hearing and the knowledge which is generated by the ordinary means of direct perception, and this one is different because a word, a statement which is made generates a knowledge. The example which we are using is that the case of the 10th person. When he is not hearing the 10th person as a knowledge through the ears, but he, while counting after having crossed the river, they feel that they have lost one person in the flow of the river and they are counting. The one person who is counting himself forgets about himself. And they are always, everybody does the same mistake again. All the 9-10 people are doing the same mistake and they come only 9 people. And they were wondering what to do. That time somebody else from outside is coming and he said, what is the problem? He said, okay, start counting. So he starts counting and up to 9 he counted. And then he says, you are the 10th. You are for not counting yourself. That statement by the outsider that you are the 10th immediately generates a knowledge that I am the 10th person. These type of examples are included in the Shabdam, that is produced out of sound. So here, when the Tattvamasi being said by the Upanishad, that Brahman is you are, which I have been talking about. That statement instantaneously gives the knowledge to the appropriate student. Yes, I am that Brahman. That is what is called the effect of Shabdam or Shastram here. And even what you call Aptavakya means a well considered person in the society. He says that, this boy, I know him, he would not have done the theft or he would not have done the mischief. Such a person standing for the child is considered as a valid knowledge that this child is not the one who has done the mischief, it is somebody else. Like that, the word sound is called the Shabda knowledge, Shabdam. So these are the 6 ways in which Advaita accepts as the means of knowledge. Prakash?
Yes, thank you, Binduji, because I thought it might be important to reiterate that point where as a student approaches this, because there's always this need to know where the knowledge is resourced, right? So I thought stating that might be useful. And it also is a good reminder for us from, hearing how you put it into perspective at different times. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Ganesh Prasad ji, the final
Yeah, I forgot.
Nirvana Shatakam, and we'll close it.
Okay, good.
Yes, Binduji.
मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कार चित्तानि नाहम् न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कार चित्तानि नाहम् न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योम भूमिर्न तेजो न वायुः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहम् न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुर्न सा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोशाः न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुर्न वा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोशाः न वाक्पाणिपादम् न चोपस्थपायुः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहम् न मे रागौ न मे लोभमोहौ मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभावः न मे द्वेषरागौ न मे लोभमोहौ मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञाः न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञा अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न मृत्युर्न शङ्का न मे जातिभेद पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न मृत्युर्न शङ्का न मे जातिभेद पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्य चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभुत्वाञ्च सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणाम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभुत्वाञ्च सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणाम् न चासङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्न मेय चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न चासङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्न मेय चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्
Thank you, Ganesh. Very well sung. Superb. Atmisha, Prakash, can we close
Yes, yes. Thank you,
Sunday?
Ganesh ji. Yes, go ahead, Benjaji. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and announce for Sunday.
Sure. I just wanted to say thank you, Ganesh ji, for a beautiful rendering, and then also Venkat ji for having come up and provide us the Brahmanyana Valimala and an opportunity to hear Bindoji's interpretations or translations of those. So thank you. And thank you everyone for, for having come and participated in this Q&A session. And those who came up, especially, Srinivas ji and Yash and others who have participated. And the Sunday is going to be an open discussion on just Advaita or any particular question that you want to talk. And Bindoji will be here for an hour and a half to take the questions. And the following Wednesday is a new session, and I think I will let Bindoji introduce that topic, and after that we can close the room. Over to you, Bindoji. Thank you. Heartfelt thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you all for being here, especially Srini, Venkat, Ganesh, Yash, and Milan who asked questions. Next Wednesday, we will be embarking on a small treatise. It is called the Prakarana Grantha, means it is not the Upanishad, but a auxiliary textbook which deals with the, with help us for doing the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. We have been listening to the Upanishads and their truth, but how to embark upon, how to do that in our practice is well explained by that book. The original written by Shankaracharya, the translation and the English words meanings are provided in the book. The link will be provided. Also, I'll be using Swami Vidyaranya's commentary in Sanskrit, which will be also shared in the chat as a link where you can download it, and those who want to follow Sanskrit or verses of the thing which I'll be reading. And so it has got 115 verses, but most of the verses are, coupled together because they are all repetitions in the many form, where it is being, same topic being dealt. So I expect the whole thing to be done in about 25 or 30 classes. So let us see how far it will go. But I don't want to rush through it because it will be very helpful for those who want to, do the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana on the Tattva, on the teachings of the Upanishads. That will be starting from Wednesday. So see you all on Sunday. Thank you all. Hari Om. Namaste. Good night.
Hari Om Maharaj.
Good
Hari
night.
Om.
Good night. Hari Om.
Namaste.